So I just got back on trail. It's another very foggy morning. I had kind of a restless sleep last night. I was kind of anticipating this swamp section, and I don't know why. I've been through swamp. It's not that big of a deal. You know, and the depths reported don't sound too bad, except when you fall in a hole, which both hikers told me is possible. So maybe that's what was kind of getting me. It's not even that long. From here, it's 3 miles, and clearly I haven't hit the heart of the swamp, whereas in Big Cypress we were just walking for days through it. So should have an extra bit of mystery if this fog doesn't burn off by the time I get to the deepest part, but here comes the swamp. So of course I put my phone away for like 2 seconds, and then I enter the swamp. So this is kind of just a path through ankle deep water, in between these bushes here, which might be the plant tai-tai. I'm not sure. I know this is the tai-tai swamp, but this is what it's been reported to be like throughout most of this 3-mile section. It's only one part that gets a little deeper. So just kind of splashing my way through this morning. And I mean, honestly, if it's this, that's not too bad. The swamp has now transitioned to this interesting tangle. It's the second time I've gone through an area like this, and it's pretty much just a flooded forest. So trees are all around, roots all around, but you're wading through it. It's like ankle deep, ankle to calf deep. Not too bad. It's just lots of debris that you can't see. You can kind of see over here to the side, you got some logs. So sometimes you have some logs underfoot that you are not expecting. But just as long as it's going slow, it's not bad at all. It's not scary. I don't know why I was losing sleep over this. In its own way, it's pretty cool. You know, it's a pretty unique experience. Definitely different than I imagined. So I'd film a little bit more because I'm starting to find it pretty cool. Yeah, it's not that deep, and you're just kind of winding through trees. And I don't know, I'm actually kind of starting to enjoy it now. Again, it's a pretty unique experience. Way different than what I imagined when I heard Blackwater Swamp. I mean, actually, you can see the bottom. It's just tannic water. So like when there's a lot of it, the big volume, it turns kind of black. But right now it's just kind of tinged reddish. But you know, you got the mosses and the trees, and you know, kind of a cool environment. More swamp walking. At least in this swamp, if you need to sit down, there are these little islands of roots and trees. Big Cypress didn't really have that. I think I found one cypress knee to sit on because my shoe is just getting full of muck and I just couldn't take it anymore. But here, you need a rest. Got all these nice dry islands. Currently moving through a shallower part of the swamp. You can see it's still very mysterious out there. Moving through a pine area. I think around here was supposed to be the campsite where it's like, oh, a dry little island, but it's not dry. None of this is dry. None of it is too deep, but it's just not dry. So this would be a place for hammock camping, but not tent camping. So thank you to Gramps, who warned me about that, and I stayed back at the trailhead. But different part of the swamp. Didn't think a pine forest could be a swamp, but apparently they can flood too. The water got a little deeper. I can still see the bottom when there's sand on it, but it's more black now. There's actually a flow to it. There's a current. The current is coming towards me. So I think I'm entering the deepest part. Don't think it's going to get too much deeper unless I fall into a hole. But where before I was walking through flooded forest, here I'm walking through a little bit more of a river. I guess it's just the swamp drainage just coming in this direction, but there's definitely a current and there's definitely a flow. But again, this is entirely different than what I had pictured in my head, and honestly much more fun. Just taking a minute. This should be the scenic area, which is the deepest part. I have been up to my knees. I have admittedly fallen in 2 holes. Just, you know, you think the ground is solid and then it's not, or you think you're stepping on a tree root and then it gives way. I think the bottom of my backpack got wet, but I think everything else is fine. But there's some huge cypresses. Like this cypress is pretty big. There's the blaze. I don't know if I can stick my foot out in comparison. I'm a little uneven right now. It does make oh, that makes no sense. Okay, but big cypresses in here, kind of spread out, a little mucky, but that's what a swamp's about. And again, not really what I imagined, and really not as bad as I was making it out to be last night in my head.